Hey, you. Me? Yeah, you. Come over here. Yeah, okay. Can I help you or anything like that? Do you want any tactics? Yeah. What tactics have you got? I've got all of them. A 4-2-3-1, gegenpress, a 5 at the back part of the bus, even a custom one that does really well. What's the best one that you've got? You want the best one? I think I can do that for you. So the Football Manager beta has been out for almost a week now, and we've all been playing it. We've all been having great fun playing the game, trying to win as much as we can before the full game comes out. And with that, people are trying to find the best formation, the best tactic in the game possible. Not to brag or anything, but I reckon I could have found it already. If you've been watching my Tottenham save here on YouTube, you'll know that we've been playing this formation, a custom formation that I've sort of just made up, and we've been playing this, and it's been going pretty well. As you can see in competitive fixtures, we haven't lost a game yet, and we've only conceded 7 goals in the process, which I think is pretty mad considering that we are like halfway through a season. You will notice as well that down here I am recording this before I play a double header against Liverpool, because I think this unbeaten run could come to an end in those games, so I thought it'd be good to get this out right now. But if this isn't enough proof for you that this formation is good enough, let me just show you something else. I've also been running a save with Lincoln City using the same formation, the same instructions, and in League One we have done very well this season, as you can see. Plenty of green, not much red whatsoever, apart from teams in high divisions like Derby County and the Carabao Cup and things like that. But lots of green, and we have just won Sky Bet League One, as you can see, if I can get onto the table, with the second highest points total ever. We also only conceded 24 goals across the entire season as well, which I think is pretty impressive, considering the next best team was 34, so we've done pretty well. So there's your evidence, 2 different saves, 2 very different teams, and very similar results. So, what's the secret? I've not a clue. I don't know, so we're going to find out in today's episode. With both Spurs and Lincoln, I've gone for a 4-2-3-1 formation. Now, not because that is, you know, the overpowered one to go for, because it was in FM20. I've gone for it purely because the players fit that shape the best. Or the players that we have, the very best 11 that we've got, fit this shape, which is why I went for it. So I guess what we'll do is talk through what I've done, essentially. Before we do that though, I'm sorry, but I've got to do it. Make sure you do drop a like on the video for me. We'll set a target of 300 likes on this video, please. That would be massively appreciated. And we are really pushing towards 20,000 subscribers at the moment. If you can help me get there, that would be huge. So please do consider pressing that subscribe button. That would be wonderful. Of course, if you just want to download the tactic, plug it in and play with it, then obviously you can do. There'll be a link down in the description as well. But I do think it's worth sort of sticking around, because we're going to try and sort of work out why this works so well. And maybe then you can use it and apply it with your own knowledge and then build your own tactic that's better than this one. So we'll start off with player roles, actually, first and foremost. Before we dive into the actual tactical bit, player roles. These actually do differ between this Lincoln save and the one with Tottenham. There are 4 positions that are the exact same. We've got an advanced forward on attack, an advanced playmaker on attack, a ball-winning midfielder on defend, and a box-to-box midfielder on support. With Lincoln, I've gone with wingers because that's what was at the club, basically. They weren't inside forwards, so it made sense to go with wingers. On the Spurs save, they're inside forwards instead. Both on attack on the Spurs save. This time, we've got a winger attack on the left, a winger on support on the right, and then to counter that, or balance it out, I should say, we've got wing-backs on attack, where the winger is on support, and a wing back on support where the winger is on attack. My centre backs are just plain centre backs, one on defend, one on cover next to the wing back who's on attack, just to cover any holes that he may leave if he's pushing forward. On the Spurs save, they are ball playing defenders because they're very good at the ball in the Premier League. In League One, a bit different. I don't trust them with the ball so much, so we'll leave them on centre backs as they are. My biggest recommendation is not to just copy this exactly. Do what your players want to do best. This season, I think this role ability thing is very important. So if I just do a quick pick, for example, it's just going to pick a random team up here. Gone are the green circles, which I quite miss, but I guess, you know, it's the way they're wanting to play the game. So let's play the game the way SI want us to. And look at this role ability thing. So Harry Anderson, for example, he's my winger on this right-hand side. I put him there because that's what he's best at. If we switch things up a little bit and we want to be an inside forward, he's only 2.5 stars. So I think it's best to put him in the position on role that they think or feel they can play the best at. That way, I believe you're going to get the most out of your players. So I'd recommend doing that. But obviously, if you just want to copy this one and give it a go, by all means, have a go. So looking into the actual tactics of this formation, in possession, I've not touched anything on attacking width. That is just default. left it as it is. It's approach play where I've started to change things up a little bit. And because I want to try and develop a possessional tactic with some good build-up play, we play out of the defence, and because we've got wingers and wing-backs who are overlapping and things like that or whatnot, we are focusing the play down the wings as opposed to the middle of the pitch. Now, what I think that's done, because I have spoken to some guys at SI, and obviously in last year's game we saw that attacking midfielders weren't necessarily always in the game, weren't that great of an influence, but I think focusing play down the left and the right opens up a hole in the middle, and in this year's game players are... They take more risks, basically. Their decision making is a bit better, they take more risk, and I think they look for those passes into the middle of the park a little bit more. So by playing down the wings, I feel like we're creating space in the middle for our attacking midfielder to do pretty well. In my case, the past 2 seasons, Brennan Johnson's been my attacking playmaker through the middle of the park, and as you can see, he's got plenty of goals, plenty of assists, and very good average ratings. We're also playing some more direct passes. This encourages us to keep possession more, obviously limits the possession for the other team and stops them coming forward and scoring goals. Coupling that with much higher tempo as well, the passes are always being pinged across, so the opposition team are getting very tired chasing us down. I think it works quite well, basically. We keep possession well and we tire the opposition out quite quickly. In terms of the final third, all I've got it is work the ball into the box. Because we are getting players forward, we're overlapping on the wings, and obviously we've got a striker and attacking midfielder sort of in and around the area who have got very good shooting attributes. Working the ball into the box has worked pretty well with me, particularly with whipped crosses. I've not gone for mixed, floated or low, I've gone for whipped crosses because puts the ball into the area with pace. It's very difficult for defenders to defend it when it's low with pace, and often if they do try and intercept, it will go out for a corner or maybe even an own goal. I guess towards the end of the game we could put play for set pieces on and things like that. If we had some better dribblers of the ball, run at the defence, that might be okay. If we had some more creative players, be more expressive, but because we're at League 1 level, I've kind of left those off, and it's worked pretty well in the Premier League as well. Obviously these aren't turned on for the Premier League either, so it works well there too. Moving on to the in transition bit, and when we lose possession, we counter press. Obviously, the idea of this is that once we lose possession, we try and win it back as quickly as possible rather than stepping off them and sort of regrouping, let them come towards us, try and stop the attack and start again. Essentially, it's just defending higher up the pitch, and it seems to work quite well. I don't think my players in this Lincoln save are particularly good tacklers, but we seem to win the ball back pretty quickly when we do lose it. Same sort of thing when we win possession as well. We don't want to hold our shape, we want to be proactive on the ball, we want to be pushing forward, and it's worked really well, I must say. We win the ball and we're instantly getting it out wide, instantly giving it to our wingers who have got some pace, got some stamina. They can keep running up and down the wings and they can keep putting those whip crosses into the middle. That's worked pretty well. It also works quite well as well going for counter when we're playing with a high tempo. If you're playing with a low tempo and trying to counter like that, I don't think it works so well. And the same thing, if you're trying to hold your shape but having a high tempo, again, I don't think that quite works. They kind of mutually work together nicely, so make sure you pair things up. And of course, because we are playing with a high tempo, the goalkeeper has to distribute the ball quickly rather than slow the pace down. It just sort of makes sense to pair those up again. In a similar vein of pairing things up, if we go back to this in possession, you can see that we play out of defence. So it makes a lot of sense for us to distribute to fullbacks and distribute to centre-backs to then play out of defence. There's no point distributing to the target man when the instruction is already to play out of defence. Distribution type as well. Obviously look at how good your keeper is at throwing and kicking. If they've got terrible kicking, it might be better to go for throwing it or rolling it out. If we've got terrible throwing and kicking, rolling it out is the simplest thing to do. But again, take long goal kicks wouldn't work if you are distributing to your centre-backs and full-backs and whatnot. And when we are out of possession, we obviously use a higher line of engagement and a higher defensive line as well. I've not really toyed around with the defensive width. You can obviously go for, you know, trying to force the opposition teams through the middle of the park or trying to force them out wide the other way. Obviously I've stuck through the middle just because it doesn't really make a difference to me right now. I feel like we are pretty strong out wide and through the middle, but of course if you're playing like a 5 at the back system with 3 centre midfielders, you're going to want to try and push the opposition team into the middle of the park as opposed to leave them out wide. I've got some pretty tall centre backs and centre midfielders, so I prevent short goalkeeper distribution because I'm pretty confident our tall midfielders and defenders will win the ball back in the air if the keeper kicks it long. But of course, if you've got a very small team, it might be actually advantageous not to prevent short goalkeeper distributions. You can try and tackle further up the pitch and defend higher up the pitch. But we've got this turned on because I know my boys are quite good at heading. And that's kind of it on the tactical side of things. I mean, hopefully I've explained it well and explained my thought processes behind choosing everything. But I still can't quite rack my brains as to why it works so well. But I think, and you can have a discussion with me in the comment section about this because I'd really like to hear your feedback on this and your thoughts on this. But I think the match engine at the moment really does favour defending higher up the pitch. We don't concede many goals because I don't think we concede many shots. We don't have any shots against us, and I think that is purely because we have got this high line of engagement, high defensive line as well. Of course, when we've got, if we can get onto the in-transition bit, counter press, basically we're just trying to tackle as soon as possible. We're not giving the team any time and space, the opposition team this is, any time and space. So maybe the AI don't have great decision making when they're on the ball immediately. I don't know, but it seems to me that defending higher at the pitch is the best way to go in FM21 right now. Historically, I would use similar sort of gegenpress style of plays or controlled possession style of plays in the past, and I'd concede a lot of goals, but I'd score a lot of goals. I'm playing a similar shape and I guess a similar style of play, even though I've sort of developed it myself. It's a similar style of play to a gegenpress or a controlled possession, but we're not conceding goals. So I think from that, all I can deduce basically from that is that we are defending higher up the pitch and getting those tackles in very, very early. So let's have a discussion. Get yourself down in the comment section. Tell me what you think. Maybe I've spoken absolute rubbish and you think I've spoken absolute rubbish. Let me know. I'd like to have a debate with you. On the other hand, you might think, Tom, everything you've said makes perfect sense. Let me know in the comment section because I'll be interested to know how your tactics are going, what you're doing with your tactics, and if the information you've got from your saves sort of corroborates with what I've said today as well. So we'll finish things up there, I think. We'll finish things up there. Thank you for watching if you're still watching at this point. Of course, drop a like on the video for me, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and I guess I'll see you soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.